Same with me today. I will do it.
Sure, sure. Everyone try to connect to the instances. Here, what we done yesterday, I'll explain again. We have created a Linux instance, and once we provision the instance, we got instance ID, one public IP we got, private IP, private DNS name, like that, just like a host name kind of thing we got. Public we got one DNS name, and for private we got one DNS name. Yeah, any other things what we got? To which VPC it has been attached, and we got one PEM file also. So using these details, say we are using SH client. Putty is the SH client we are using, and Putty won't support .pem file. So we are converting .pem to .ppk using Putty gen. So Putty gen. Okay. After converting, we are using Putty with public IP and ppk file. Username for Linux is root normally. By default, the username. At AWS has disabled the root account. For Amazon Linux, Red Hat, CentOS. For Amazon Linux, Red Hat, CentOS. Otherwise, we have SUSE Linux. So what is the default username? EC2-user. For Ubuntu. So actually in the in Linux, Debian flavor is different. Normal Red Hat, that flavor is different. Two types of, again, kernels we have. Ubuntu belongs to Debian kernel. So Ubuntu belongs to Debian kernel, and Amazon Linux, Red Hat, CentOS, otherwise SUSE Linux, these are one type of Linux kernel. And the commands also may be little bit different for Debian base and Red Hat kind of base of Linux kernels. So once we connect to those that instance, we need to install web server. So what is the meaning of web server? So what is the web server means? So in the three-tier applications or entire kind of applications, we'll have web servers, application servers, database servers. So what exactly the meaning of web server and how it differ from application server? Yeah. So what is the meaning of web server? The idea what is the web server? So web server will have the capability of understanding the web request and it delivers those web pages. Say suppose you type something in the website in a browser. Say you type something like a URL you have typed in the website, and that web content need to be delivered to the users. That's the responsibility of the web server. So any idea what are the leading web servers we have in the market? So we have the leading web servers in the market. We have is Nginx. We have otherwise Apache is there. So Apache package itself is HTTPD. So then we have the IaaS is Internet Information Services. So these are the three like leading web servers we have in the market. Nginx we have, Apache we have, and on Windows Server we have IaaS. IaaS stands for Internet Information Services. Internet Information Services. Okay. Say we have on Linux we are going to use either Apache or Nginx. On Windows mostly we'll use IaaS. So why we are going to install this is in order to deploy our static web content. So in order to deploy the static websites like HTML, images, videos, this kind of static web content can be delivered to the users using the web server. So now we'll connect to those instances. On top of that, we are going to deploy these web servers we are going to deploy. Yeah, any doubts on this?
No, sir.
Okay, so now like on Windows, what we have?
IAS.
Yeah, I on top of the Windows, we have the mostly IaaS. We have a slight difference between a web server and application server. Any idea what is the difference between a web server and application server? The static web content only can be delivered by the web server. If we have the business logic, like maybe programmatically, we have developed some logic using Java, .NET, like this kind of like programming language that business logic would be running in the application servers. In the application servers, those kind of logic would be running. Static web content would be delivered by, so the static web content itself would be delivered by the web server. Okay, so now here I'll take a instance. Normally, all these we are going to do in the physical servers we used to do. Now we are going to take it in the AWS. Log into the AWS, but here we log in as root account. After IAM, we need to log in as an IAM user itself. So now we need to go to EC2. So we are in which region? Seoul is the region. So which region you want, here you can modify. Already one running instance is there. So this let it be. I'm going to create one more. So Wipro server 004 is the naming pattern I'm using. So here you can use Amazon Linux or Ubuntu we can use. I'm going to take the Ubuntu. Instance type t2.micro, and we got Ubuntu 22.04, and it's a Intel based architecture. For Intel the AMI ID is different. For AMD the AMI ID is different. Okay, so here I'm going to use the Intel base. The AMI ID is different for both of them. And the same Ubuntu 22.04 AMI ID, region wise also it changes. We may not have the same like AMI ID in all the regions, because the scope here is only within the region. And we need to use the key pair also. Say we can use the existing key pair, but I'm going to create a new key pair. And it's supporting encryption, two types of encryption algorithms, RSA and the ED. And in the security group, we are going to create allow SH traffic from anywhere we are going to give. As of now, we didn't give the HTTP traffic. Okay. So then even if we deploy the website also, firewall will block this traffic. Later, we will open that. And what is the HTTP port number? What is the HTTP port number? HTTP port number is 80. HTTPS port number is, what is the HTTPS port number? HTTPS port number is 8080. Sorry, HTTPS port number is 443. HTTP port is 80. Okay, so those port numbers also we need to open from the traffic. Okay, so we'll open that traffic also after installing the web servers. We'll open, and how much EBS volume we are getting, 8 GB, and which type of storage volume is GP2. Okay, I'm going to increase 12 GB. Then I'm going to say this is the summary page, which of the details is going to show. It shows us. So let's creating that instance. So let's create that instance. Now, like this is the Ubuntu. Either I may install Apache or Nginx. We can install anything is the same web server, but we have differences. Some of the differences, if you go deeply, the basic purpose wise, there are no differences. Apache or Nginx. Okay, so now app or M are the packages. So what is the meaning of like in Android, you are going to use maybe a Play Store you are using or App Store you are using to install the applications, right? If it is iOS, we may have for Android, like we have the Play Store kind of thing. Okay, for iOS we have maybe App Store would be there. In the Windows also we'll have Windows also having Play Store kind of tool. Like this, we are going to install the we are going to install the applications. Okay. So what is the advantage of using this is previously we need to download the MSA packages if it is Windows like Microsoft installers. Otherwise, we need to install Linux, RPM kind of packages, and we need to install those packages. But if you go for the like cloud, we don't need to install. Sorry, not with the cloud itself. In the latest versions of the Linux, the packages are getting. Then we no need to install them. So we don't need to install those packages on our missions. Automatically, we are going to install. Automatically, we are going to install. That is the reason we are using apt yum. Okay. So now, why I am using sudo for every command is, what is the meaning of sudo is super user do. By default, we log in as like a Ubuntu user or EC2-user. We don't get the permissions. So that is the reason we are going to use sudo before every command. Then apt install. Okay, so the package here for Apache is Apache 2. So the package name is Apache 2. Okay, so then -y option also will use. What is this? We'll discuss. Okay, before doing this Apache 2, first it's one of the mandatory thing is update your package with the latest packages. And if any patches, all those also, before installing the package, even like apt or yum, okay. So apt is a packager for, so apt is a packager for, apt is a packager for Debian base. So Ubuntu is also Debian like a type kernel itself. Okay. M is based on Red Hat. These all will use the yum. Yum is a packager. Even there are new packages also coming like a Snap, DNF. Those also we'll discuss later. But as of now, we are going to use yum or apt. We are going to use it. So from this, we are going to install the packages. Okay. So now I'll go for putty or putty gen. I'll go. Say generate or load here.
Load.
Load. In my downloads, I have the files, but here it's showing the filter with the PPK files only. Yeah, this is our PEM key. Then save it as
Private key.
private key. No passphrase is required. Again, we can keep a password also. I save this one as Wipro server PPK. So now we'll get that public IP. I'm copying this. So maybe go to SH authentication. And even if you want to change any appearance like font size, so now here clear will remove those. Okay, so then sudo apt update I'm doing. So it's downloading all the packages, all those updates. then sudo apt install Apache 2. Even here you can give -y option. If you don't give -y option, what happens will show. -y we can give. So otherwise, it will prompt again here. Do you want to continue? If you don't want this prompt, you can use the -y option. So now that so we have installed sudo apt install okay Apache 2 -y I have used. Then I need to check whether that like service has been running or not. What is the meaning of service in the Linux or Windows is it's a watchdog kind of thing. Whether that functionality is working or not, we can get it through the service. Say sudo service Apache 2 is the service name status. If that service is not running, sudo service Apache 2 start we can use. So first we need to check the status. Sudo service Apache 2 status. Say here what is the status it is there. It's active and
Running.
running. 55 seconds ago it has been started. If you want to come out of this, okay, so if we click enter it won't come out. Enter Control C. Say how we came out here from this. Control C. Okay, so then sudo service Apache 2 start we are going to get it. Sudo service Apache 2 start. If the service is already running, then no need to start it. If the service is inactive, then try to start the service. If the service is inactive, try to start the service. Okay, so then I'll take that instance public IP. So here we have this instance, this is the public IP. I'm going to open that one in the browser. Then what is the expectation? That web page need to be comes. But why it is not coming? Why that is not coming?
Was the HTTP?
We didn't
Yeah.
open that in the security group. So then we'll go to this instance. So here we have the security. Here in the security, we are going to have the security groups. Then in the inbound rule, edit inbound rule. So here as of now only SH rule is there. Add one more rule. Okay, so here you can choose HTTP. Mostly the HTTP kind of websites, okay, we can access from anywhere. Okay, so 0.0.0.0. So then if the user's having IPv6, then it may not open. That is the reason here I'm adding anywhere IPv6 also. That means from anywhere IPv4, from anywhere IPv6, even if the user's having IPv6 address also, for them also this website is getting opened. So now we are getting this default web page. So now we are getting the default web page. We are going to get it. Okay. So any doubts on this? Okay. So like this, we can deploy the websites. Then yeah, I'll try to uninstall that package. So we can use maybe remove is option one is there. Otherwise, okay, I'm trying to remove that package. But configuration files are not going to be there. So then we can use purge, purg is another option we have. So with the purge, what is the advantage is even the configuration changes also are going to be removed. And another command we need to use is auto remove. So after this, do the auto remove also. So these are all the ways we have uninstalled the package. So maybe apt sudo is mandatory, either remove or only one option we can use, but purge will remove the configuration files also. Apache 2, sudo apt auto remove. Okay, so now I'm going to install sudo apt install Nginx on the same machine. I'm going to install the Nginx. Again, it will prompt me. Sudo service Nginx status. So now that Nginx status is running. Okay, if you want to come out of it, what we need to do? If you want to come out of it, what we need to do? Control,
Control C.
Control C. Okay, so then I'll check this. See, now we don't have here. So now that Nginx page is open. That Nginx page is getting opened. Okay. So now here we can use either Apache or Nginx, but in the real time we don't use one, because if you use both those things in the same mission, then we'll get the conflict. Then we'll get the conflict of port numbers. Then we'll get the conflict of port numbers. We are going to get it. That's the reason we can't use both the servers in the same mission. If you change any of the port number, then it can use. So that's going forward. We'll discuss in the same server. We want to run both Apache and this also. But as of now, we are going to get the conflict with the port number. Okay. So now once we deploy the website, say here what are the other commands I use. Sudo apt install Nginx, then sudo service Nginx status. If you want to control C,
CTRL.
control C, then sudo service Nginx start you can do. Then another command is there, very, very important. Systemctl enable Nginx. So what this command will do is, even in the subsequent logins also, I want to start my service automatically. That means each and every time I don't want to start my service manually, I don't want to start it. Okay, then each and every time I want to start my service. Then I'm going to use sudo systemctl enable Nginx. So now here also before doing that start, after the start, better to enable sudo systemctl. So here enable Apache 2. Enable Apache 2. So like this we need to. So what is the advantage is even in the subsequent login also, that means even if the server restarted, if we have 100 servers, each and every time we need to go for each and every time we need to go for
Starting manually.
starting manually. That's maybe time consuming and manual process in the production servers. So that is the reason it's recommended to enable system CTL service also. It's recommended to enable the system CTL enables command. Okay. So now we will download one website. So normally in the real time, our web designer is going to give the website. We'll deploy it in Apache or Nginx. In Apache or Nginx, we are going to deploy this one. Okay, so now I'll go to maybe any of the templates. We'll get it. So we'll get the static websites download. Normally in our company, our web designer will give this. So here we have a lot of websites are there. free-css.com, you will get some thousands of websites. So which template you want, you can choose it. So here which template you want, so here you can choose. Okay, so now here this is one rent for you. There may be a car rental template. So here I'm going to download that website rent for you website template that is. Okay, so now here if you go for this is the rent for you HTML. Okay, I want to keep this one as rent only. So here I'm going to keep this one as rent for you, right? Try to understand in the first page itself in this, we should have the index.html. That means if you open this like folder, index.html should be there. And instead of rent for you HTML, I'm trying to rename this one into car rental. I'll give my application I want to give as car rental. In that, in the first folder itself, we should have index.html. So now, so we have like a one like a HTML static content is there that we want to deploy to your Apache or Nginx. In which folder you need to copy in this is the var www html. So to which folder we need to copy this one? Var www HTML is required. Where www HTML is required. Okay, so that into that folder we are going to copy that car rental kind of thing. Then if you want to copy the files from say in our Windows we have that, and we want to copy it to we want to copy from the Windows to
Ubuntu, sir.
yeah, Windows to Linux we want to copy. For that, there are a lot of like FTP kind of tools are there. WinSCP is there, or Qt FTP is there. FileZilla we have. Okay, so these all the tools we are going to use. So suppose here we are going to download one software called WinSCP, and we are connecting to Linux using like a username. So anyhow, here also we required public IP. Normally we require the password, but as we don't have the password, we are going to use the PPK file. Okay, then we can copy the files from Windows to Linux or vice versa. So what is the meaning of Windows to Linux or vice versa? Means Linux to Windows also we are going to copy. Okay, so now here we have the source is to which folder in the Linux we need to copy? To which folder in the Linux we are copying?
Where
That
W.
W. Yeah, by default that is the folder for the default folder for like to keep the website pages in the in the Nginx or Apache. Then here we need to install. So just download WinSCP software, then install it. So this is the WinSCP page. So here we need to enter the public IP. So we need to enter the public IP. So this is our public IP. Then username. Ubuntu, we don't have the password. As we don't have the password, go to advanced options. Authentication. So it also, WinSCP also is not supporting PEM format. We need to use PPK itself. Then login. So it will prompt for one message. We are trusting that. That is the reason we are keeping yes. So now here, which directory we got is home Ubuntu because that is our home directory. Go to /root, that is. So in this root, we have all these directory structures we have. Then go for var www html. Okay. So normally we got an Nginx page, right? This Nginx page, we got it. Then in my desktop, I have my car rental. This I want to copy to this. Just you can drag and drop. You can just drag and drop here. But we got a message. What is that error we got to go through?
Permission denied.
Permission denied because we log in as a Ubuntu user. We don't have the permissions for var www html. Okay. So here, what is my home directory by default is so root home Ubuntu. So to the home Ubuntu, it will allow to copy because that for that folder we have the permissions, but to var www html we don't have the permissions to create the directory or to copy the files. So if you want to give that permissions, I'm going to give one command, try to understand. Chmod is to give the files permissions, all those. We'll discuss this also more. So now here we are going to use, so this is my Linux mission, sudo var www html. I'm going to copy. So here it's copied, right? Now I'll try, after I give the chmod 777, what is that we'll discuss. So now var www So I'm going to copy that files. So now this website has been copied. Now you go to your Nginx page slash car rental. Sorry, there is a small typo is there. So this car rental in that index.html page is going to open for us. In that index.html, what is that is there is going to open. Okay, so like this, we are going to open our the websites. Any doubts on this? So now here we are going to like what is that command also I'll type. So remove you don't try just for sudo chmod 777. So here read permissions are like 4, write is 2, execute is 1. Total if I give 7 means I'm giving the read, write, execute permission to whom is current user. Who is the current user? Who is the current user here? Say Ubuntu. Then to the groups also and for others also we are giving 777 for, but like this giving 777 permissions is very risky because others also getting the permissions. For time being we are giving, but in the real time we shouldn't give maybe 764 like this. We need to give the permissions, or 644 by default we are going to get it. Okay, so like giving the all the permissions is little risky. But that 777 to var www.html we are going to give. So read having 4 is the number permissions, write is 2, and execute is 1. So like this we are going to give the 7 is the permissions we are giving. Okay. So in the same way we can deploy even in another like on Amazon Linux also we can take it. So in that we need to use yum is the packager. So now here I'll take Amazon Linux or maybe Red Hat we can take. So on that sudo yum update. So in the apt Apache package name is Apache 2. So here the same Apache package is HTTPD. So first is better to check the status. So in the Ubuntu or Debian flavors, automatically that service is getting started. Okay, but for like a Red Hat kind of flavors, the service is not getting started. Then manually you start. In the subsequent login also my service need to start. Then what I need to do? Then if you want to give the permissions, so copy the files from Windows to Linux. In security group, we need to open the port number. In the security group, we need to open the port number 80. Then our website is going to open for this. Yeah. Any doubts on this? So try to do the same steps on the like Red Hat or Amazon Linux also try to do. Then the same steps I'll show even on Windows also. So here if you go for EC2 instances, so this Wipro server 004 I'm going to terminate. So then this WinSAP connection also is lost because that's getting shutting down. Then here I am going to choose the Windows Server 2022 base we are getting t2.micro. So you can use the Wipro server, the same key pair which has been given for the Linux we can use also, but the scope is again here. The scope is within the region only. Then here if we want to allow the HTTP traffic, we can open this. TGB of the storage we are going to use because for Windows minimum required 30 GB. And here itself I can open the HTTP port also if you want. So already I have opened this HTTP port also. Otherwise, after provisioning, go to that instance and
Security group.
add the security group, add a rule for both IPv4 and IPv6. Then we got this instance ID. Yesterday I said, right, to connect to the remote mission in the run, we can type one command. What is that? MS TSC. In the Windows, we can open by default that remote desktop client will come. And what is the protocol it is using to connect to Windows? What is the protocol? RDP. RDP stands for
Remote
RDP,
desktop.
remote desktop protocol. And what is the port number? What is that RDP port number?
3389.
Yeah, 3389. Okay, so now here we'll go to this instance. So that's still in the pending. Yeah, it came to running state. So now we can enter that public IP. And what is the Windows username? What is the Windows username?
Our credentials.
Yeah, we need to, we don't get the password. For that, we need to go to connect option, RDP client, get password would be there here. So then for that, we need to submit our private key. So wipro I have given. So here try whether PPK also is supported or not for Windows. Then we will be getting here the password. So then this is going to connect. Instead of doing that, MSTSE, all those, if you don't want to do, directly download that remote desktop file. Once it downloaded, double click to open that file, connect. You no need to enter MSTSE, that public IP, administrator username, all those, like already we got in that RDP file. Then enter the password. Then that's getting connected. So now on top of that, we need to install Windows Web Server, that is IIS. Now we got this Windows Server. In order to configure most of the Windows administrative kind of tools, if you go to the Start menu, Windows given one utility called as Server Manager. So most of the Windows Server administration, we are going to do it from the Server Manager. We can do it. So we are opening this. Go to here the Start menu. So open the Server Manager. Here we can have the Server Manager. So now here add roles and features. So by default, IAS also is a Windows inbuilt feature itself. We don't need to install any other third-party component or any other installer. It's a Windows inbuilt feature. So we can call it as add roles and features. So it is collecting data, telling to wait for some time. Yeah. Now try to go and hit the roles. So now here in this Windows roles, by default Windows can do lot of roles. So click next, next, next. So now here we are going to choose this server itself as our so here we are going to choose here the web server we are going to choose. Okay, so now here a Windows server can do lot of roles like domain services is Active Directory kind of thing, DNS server, DHCP server, fax server, or file servers, Hyper-V. Okay, say RDP, RDS server we can make it, web servers, print servers, update server, deployment services. All this we can do, but as of now we are going to install web server and add the features also. next, next. So with the default options, go to the next and install it. So as of now that Windows like a web server is IAS is getting installed on our mission. So for IAS, I think it's not required a reboot. So what are the steps we have done? So we are going to configure the IAS here. So connect it to Windows Server. Open Server Manager. Say in the Server Manager, like add roles and features. Say here we need to choose the web server role. That itself is the IAS. Add features. Say click or default options. Okay, so let's get installed that. So still this is getting installed. Now it's installed. Installation is succeeded. Now close that. I'll check whether my web page is coming or not in the browser. I'll copy that public IP or public DNS also is fine. So public IP or public DNS. Then normally instead of Apache or already we've opened 80 also, right? So that is the reason this page is opening. Otherwise open 80 port also. So here we are going to get it. Here we are going to get the IAS page is getting open for us. IAS page is getting opened. So once we got this IAS page, normally into which folder in the Linux we copied the files? Okay, so to add www.html, we are going to copy. So now here, C drive, inetpub is one of the directory will get created by default in the, like in the, say this we can minimize if you want. So go to like a Explorer. That folder I'm opening in the C drive. Inetpub. If you don't install IAS, we don't get this folder. www root. So this IAS start page itself we got in the inetpub. So www root. We need to copy what are the files you have. Okay. So already we have the car rental, right? So here we have this car rental. There is a small typo. I'll rename this one car rental. This you can directly copy and paste into RDP. You no need of any other tools. Directly we can copy paste like clipboard operations are supported in the RDP session. Clipboard means cut, copy, paste. These kind of operations are called as clipboard operations.
Mm.
So now that it's getting copied into, directly we are copying into inet pub www root itself. So here once you create this this is the default web page, right? Slash car rental. Okay. So like this, that web page can be say static web content anywhere. It's same. There is no business logic in that. So for the business logic, if you have develop on Java, .NET, PHP, Python, Node.js, then that's required an application server to deploy. But IAS can act as an web server and application server also. But application server only for .NET based projects. Okay, sure. Any doubts?
Mm.
Okay, so try to do till this point. Okay, so we have connection and we are deploying the websites also on this. Okay,
Okay.
sure. Any doubts?
No.